Hi, good morning.
Hey, Christy.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. So, just gonna do a really quick sound check. Video is good, sound is good.
Okay.
And our Zoom is now broadcasting on our Metro YouTube page.
Okay.
Communications has sent out that link so everyone can access right at noon. Hi, good morning.
Hey, Christy.
How are you?
Good, how are you? I can only see Christy. I can't see anyone else.
I don't think we have anyone on yet.
Oh.
Might have just been a little bit of a
Delay. Okay. Just gonna go finish through my questions and I'll. Okay. There's Keisha. Hi, Keisha.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you.
Great.
Keisha, did you want me to for the introduction, to just, I was gonna just basically give your bio, and then say, along with MFS, you're also the vice chair of the Adler Planetarium, and you live in the north suburbs. Is that all right with your husband? And
yeah, I sent you really quick. I mean, I'm splitting my time. I'm actually in North Carolina right now, so I sent you a quick email that you could probably just pull and use if you want to. That I'm splitting my time. You could say North Shore is fine. I live in Winnetka, but actually I'm living more in North Carolina now.
Okay. And you have 2 children?
I have 5. We have 5 between the 2 of us. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I sent you just a quick message. So we've got 5 ranging in age from 29 to 15.
Okay. And then when did you want me to start off? Because I know really for your main question is going to be kind of leading through ambiguity and really kind of with kind of focusing on how did you as a working mom, you were gonna do we want that to be kind of the main topic that you're gonna be talking about, or should that be?
No, I think I think what we discussed the other day was, I think with the audience is maybe focus more on the working mom.
Yeah.
And what we can go from there. I think some of the questions that they sent, they look really good too. Let's just see where it goes. But maybe you could pose the one of, as a working mom, what's some advice that I would give.
Okay. For your main
Yeah.
But what kind of questions should I give for your intro then?
Oh, well, I think on the intro, you were going to maybe ask us something that maybe others didn't know.
Yeah,
I thought that's
stick with that. Okay.
Yeah, I think let's stick with that. And then that was something that, we all probably have something to share that maybe people wouldn't know, that is one of the ties back into MFS. And I think maybe that's how you can really pull it back in with where we're involved with MFS.
Perfect.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to give you a quick update. We have 25 now that joined.
Okay.
And so we're starting to receive some viewers, and I am monitoring the chat box, and then I'll transfer some here on the Zoom chat when you're ready to receive some questions.
Are they listening to our conversation right now?
I just turned it on now. You should be good to go.
Good afternoon, Ashley and Keisha.
Hi, Tony.
I just wanted to check to see if I was on permanent mute by Ashley. Just testing.
Yes.
I even put on a collar today. I'm really feeling dressed up.
Good. I'm gonna make sure that I have my my email off too. Hang on a second.
Oh, good. Marcus has arrived. All the tough questions go to him.
That's not good if you're the last person to arrive. It sounds like you're
No, Keisha and I threw you under the bus, man. It's good to see you. How are you?
doing good. Just, COVID's an interesting situation in the insurance industry right now. So jumping around on calls.
Everything going well?
Yeah, it's been great. Can't complain. How about you?
Good. We should connect sometime offline. Haven't talked to you in a while. See how the journey's going.
Yeah, I'll pop you a note. Maybe we can get something on the calendar. Either well, it's already midweek, so maybe next week.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Or always it could be a Saturday or Sunday morning like we did last time.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Good.
So I think, guys, that we are already on, we're on live right now on the YouTube channel, and Chris is gonna pop on, even though I think there's about 30 people that are on right now. They are listening to us, but we're not going to start, I think, until probably at least like 3 minutes after 12. And Marcus, did you have a chance to get my last email? I just sent one like five minutes ago.
No, I haven't. I can.
Okay. It was, where are you living right now? Are you downtown?
No, I'm in Naperville.
Naperville. Okay. That was part of my intro.
Oh, I was gonna.
Okay, I think we're still good with time. I've never done the live YouTube. Keisha, how has the cleanup been for your stores?
We're still working. It's a work in progress. A couple of them, it's gonna take us a long time to get them back up and running.
Yeah. Quiet. I'm wondering if we just should start maybe just 1 minute after 1. What do you guys think? Just because we only have an hour? Maybe? Or should we give everyone a few more minutes?
I think 2 or 3 minutes is sort of customary.
Okay. I'm patient. I might make myself a cup of tea real quick.
Good idea.
Looks like Rick is joining us.
Here, give me a second. Hi, Ashley, could you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so I'm just calling in to say break a leg. We're all watching on YouTube. The picture, just so you know, it's very, very clear. We could see you very clearly. You all look, beautiful and handsome, and I know you're going to be even smarter than you look good.
That's,
So,
thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, under promise, over deliver, Rick. Just remember.
all right, well, I'm going to sign off. Just break a leg. I'm going to watch you on YouTube like everybody else.
Okay, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. That was sweet. All right, well, I think I'm gonna just kind of just do the intro. Just so you all know, I am Ashley Joyce and I am the board chair for MFS. And I have been involved with MFS since '97. So for about 22 years, I started off on the Young Professionals Board. I wanted to do this because I really think that is important for everyone to have opportunities to hear from different leaders. And I think that our board, we have a really large group of talented individuals on our board that are really invested and love to give their time to MFS in many different ways. So I thought, why not reach out to our own experts and hear from them and hear what they have to say and what types of advice that they have to say. And we just want to, we know that you all have been working your tails off. This is incredible times, and you guys have been challenging in so many ways, starting with COVID, but then all of the social injustice, the unrest, and the looting and everything that's been happening lately. You guys are on the front lines, and it has just been so emotional. And I think from everyone, I mean, the case managers, the therapists, to the supervisors, you guys have had to, with the pandemic, you guys have had to what I think you used to be able to separate home and work, and now you're bringing your work physically into your home. And that's tough for anyone, especially though I feel like in social services. So I want to personally thank each and every one of you. The board is behind you all. And this is just one way that the board wanted to just share some of their experiences and how they have gotten to where they are today, and to say thank you. Just a quick little thing about me. So I've been around again with MFS, love MFS for 22 years. And I was a social worker. So I was a case manager on the South and West Side. And then I went and got my master's in social work. And then I worked for what was then child serve. Well, first I was a social worker for child serve. And then I was a therapist for Family Care of Illinois for 3 years on the South Side for 3 years. And then I ended up having my own practice with individuals and families for about 10 years. And now I run my family foundation. So the MFS has just always been near and dear to my heart. I'm going to stop talking now. And I'm going to introduce the panel in alphabetical order and ask them each a kind of intro question, and then I'm going to start with just basic questions from everyone, and then if there are questions from the audience, we would love to hear from you, and I will get going. So I'm not going to read the bios. You guys all had the bios, so I'm just going to give just a brief overview in alphabetical order. Marcus Cooper is currently the Midwest Division Vice President at Liberty Mutual. He has over 20 years experience in commercial sales. He's been involved with MFS since 2013, and he lives in Naperville. Marcus, is there anything that you can share with us that we might not know about you or your journey or anything?
Yeah, well, I think my journey's been a bit like chutes and ladders. So the kids game, you go up one ladder to come down another one to find yourself further along in your career and in life. And probably one of the things I don't think people know about me is, you know, the passion that I have for giving back to the community. And a lot of that is, you know, when people look at where you've gotten in your life and in your career, you know, you don't get to see the backstory. So being a military brat, growing up in different countries, but ultimately having parents divorce at an early age, I was a kid that was, you know, severely pigeon-toed and couldn't walk very well, let alone run. And you know, learning from strong influences in my life. My mother is literally my hero because she always told me to be the first in everything that I did, and just have the courage to forge through the tough times. So that's really it. I feel like I connect with him because it's really a portion of my life and at one point in time where I came from.
Thank you. The next is Tony Hunter. Tony is actually one of my personal mentors. Tony used to be, he's a former CEO of the Chicago Tribune. And now in September, that just came out, he will be starting as CEO of is it the McClatchy? Am I saying that right? McClatchy Company, which operates about 30 media companies. He currently is living in Florida with his wife, and they have 2 daughters. And how many grandchildren?
2 grandsons and a 3rd grandchild on the way. And we also have a son. Don't forget Austin.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
Okay.
I didn't mean to forget
That's
about
okay.
your son.
That's okay.
So Tony, what would be something that some people might not know about you?
Well, I like Marcus, and we're going to go way back, but I promise I won't go through all the years of my life. But probably don't know, because I've been a long time Chicagoan until recently, that I was born in Georgia. And I was born, my dad was a Marine when he got out. My mom and he got married. I was born, and they picked up everything, which wasn't much, and they moved to Chicago. And so what people I don't think know is I was born in Georgia, and all of my breakthroughs, like Marcus has said about his upbringing, really are the result of my mom and dad having the courage to come to Chicago, knowing no one, no education, and then working for 38 years in a glass factory to get me to be the first college graduate. And I would say chutes and ladders is probably a good one for me too. And it was up to me not to screw up what was a terrific foundation. And I stumbled and bumbled my way early in my career out of college, and fortunately got back on track and was given a lot of opportunity. But I go back to like Marcus. My mom told me I could do whatever I wanted if I worked hard. I remember that like it was yesterday. And so that's why I come to MFS, is I believe in the importance of family and values and giving kids an opportunity. So that's my story. And I like Marcus to hold my mother on a pedestal.
Love it. And last but not least, we have Keisha Steelman, who is a Chief Store Operations Officer and President for Ulta Beauty. She has been involved with them since 2014. Along with MFS, she's been involved with MFS for, gosh, how many years now, Keisha?
It's a little over 3 years now.
3 years. She is also the vice chair for the Adler Planetarium Board. She lives in the North Shore with her husband, and she has 5 children ranging from 15 to 29. And Keisha, I'm going to ask you the same question. Is there something that you'd like to share that some others might not know that about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Ashley. And it's an honor to participate on this board today with Tony and Marcus, and also you leading this and monitoring it. And just want to thank the MFS staff, because you guys are making a difference out there in the community. Yeah, you know, when I go back and my history a little bit too. You know, grew up in a very small town, divorced parents. I was what I would consider on the Marry Well program, which meant to marry somebody that was going to financially take care of me, and I did that. And what ended up happening though was that he had a substance abuse issue, and I subsequently had to leave in the middle of the night to protect myself. And to think back in that time, I was in my early 20s, a single mom essentially, living in government subsidized housing. And, you know, it was really scary at the time, but I wouldn't change a thing because it kept me very grounded, and also someone that continually wanted to learn and take advantage of every opportunity that was put in front of me. You know, instead of relying on someone else to help make me successful or be independent on my own, I very quickly pivoted and looked in the mirror and realized the only person that was going to get me where I wanted to go in my life and my career, both personally and professionally, was looking right back at me. And so I would say that was a pivotal moment in my life and my journey. And what really connects me with MFS is that when you work to give somebody an opportunity or a leg up, you can make a difference. And that person can in turn go back and give back to the community too. So it's an honor to be a part of this fantastic organization.
Thank you for sharing. Well, wonderful. Thank you all for sharing. I'm going to start with the first question with Marcus, and we're going to talk a little bit about career planning and advice. Marcus, I've noticed that you've recently changed roles. Can you talk a little bit about that journey and how that process has been for you?
Yeah, actually, it's one where I spent a little time, you know, taking a step back and deciding what I'm truly passionate about. And when I think about the journey, I've always had a career plan. And sometimes that plan needs to be revised, and it didn't always get revised as often as I would say we should be looking at it. And there's a lot of opportunities in existing organizations that we allow to go past us. So having a career plan, meaning identifying what your career options are, sizing that up against, you know, what your skills are, what your values are, what you feel are the key attributes and benefits of that role, and then really doing a self-assessment, like understanding who you are and understanding the why behind you've chosen the path that you've chosen, but also the position that you aspire to achieve. So, and that's important in a lot of ways to me, because we often sell ourselves short. We don't necessarily look at our accomplishments and the skills that we've developed along the way. And we will discount our ability to move forward as soon as we're capable of doing. We don't necessarily take that risk. We hold ourselves back a little bit. So I think one of the key things of career planning is when you're doing that self-assessment, give yourself an opportunity to really have the full impact of what you've done along the way in your journey. And then prioritizing your career options, right? So this is where you kind of take that step back. And I was in that mode, and I spent, what I would say is this takes time, because I spent roughly 3 to 4 months really thinking about what I wanted to do next. And Tony was a great help and an inspiration of do some free thinking, and, you know, get back to, you know, your core and get that balance back. And when you're prioritizing options, are you interested in what you were doing, and are your interests still lie in where you're going? So you're starting to build this map based on your skills and your experiences and the people that you know, and rekindle that network. A lot of people think that it is about who you know that gets you to where you want to be, and that's a part of the factor, but it's really it's not just that. It's who you know that knows what you know that is going to help you get to where you want to be. So you have to reach out. You have to build a network with not just people who are, your friends or close to you. You need to have that personal board of directors of people who are going to be honest with you, who are going to challenge you, who are going to ask you the questions that really move you towards where you want to go, and also open doors themselves and introduce you to their broader network. And don't underestimate the people in the departments that you want to go work in, or the people outside the organization that have similar roles. Picking up the phone and calling them. I think LinkedIn's a great source for people to use because now you have access to this global community that you can reach out to. You have to have a little more courage in doing so. So being in sales for as long as I've been in sales, it's really easy for me to say, hey, pick up the phone and cold call someone. But you really should get very comfortable being uncomfortable when you're talking about your career plan. And it's truly a plan. And I say it's the 5-year plan that never ever ends. You're always updating, you're always re-upping, and you're always looking to make sure that if you don't have the skills that you need to qualify for that role, how do you get them? What experiences are available to you? It's not necessarily always you have to go back to school or take up a structured program. It's talking to people and gaining experiences through doing projects, gaining experience of doing stretch assignments for short periods of time. And probably, I think more so for some of us, when you get to that piece of how do I qualify? Do I have all the right skills? You'll look at this career aspiration you have and you start thinking, man, this is a long way off. How do I get there? You don't have to have 100% of the qualifications to go after a job, right? 75, 80% of those qualifications are good enough, and then you learn on the job. So having those core skills that round you out to give you the flexibility and the agility to move across an organization, whether you started in finance and you end up in general operations or sales, doesn't matter. Is where your passions lie and what you do to build those blocks to get there. And then I look at the compare and contrast, because often when we look at opportunities, we start to think about where we're at in our lives and what's important. The one thing that we can get caught up in that becomes a blind spot is we start thinking about the compensation that goes along with it. And if we get ourselves locked into, am I going to have the compensation or that increase, or what's it going to look like if I take a step back in order to go forward, then we put ourselves in this predicament to where we find out we're not having fun in the jobs that we're doing, where our work-life balance is off. When we come home, we're not able to decompress and leave it at work. So, your career plan is as much your life plan as well, because you want that balance. So when you home, you can leave work at work, you can engage with your family and have true quality time. And you don't get so consumed that you miss being able to recharge. And it's really evaluating who you are currently and who you aspire to be. And when we figure out that we're grounded, like we're truly grounded people, we can always get back to center really quick, right? And I can tell you, along my career, I've been so out of balance at times that when I decided to make the change, roughly, well, this is like 9 months ago now, when I decided to make that change, I went to that network, that inner circle of people to ask the question of, am I crazy to walk away where I'm at now? And there's always that person in the network that is going to be that true sounding board. And it takes a lot of courage, because usually you want to have your career plan set to where as you're leaving one role, you're going right into the next. I didn't actually do it that way. But it didn't disrupt my career plan as much, because this is something that, as you think through it, it is work. It is your personal contract with yourself, that you're going to reevaluate, you're going to update on a regular basis. And I was forced to go back into that mode of doing that. And it, to me, I think it comes down to, probably three really, really structured documents. One, the career plan in itself. Two, the individual development plan that you have, right? Because we should be thinking about continuous improvement, and some of that has to do with education, some of that has to do with experiences, and don't underestimate the balance of personal, to make sure that you're always grounded in your values and what really gives you the energy to wake up in the morning and do that job. And then, I'll say career coach or career advisor. And that doesn't mean that you have to have that person that's external to an organization or that's their role. It's people within the organization. When people know what you want to do, they naturally want to help you do it. And when we talk about our career, it is a plan, but it's not a plan until you put pen to paper and map it out.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, that's good. And it sounds like, you want to have people that are going to give you the honest answer too. And sometimes, it's, you want to surround yourself with people that aren't just going to say, yeah, do it. Yeah. You don't want those yes men. You want people that are going to be honest with you and say, this is a risk, and making challenging life choices. It's tough. Sometimes not the easiest road. Thank you, Marcus. Keisha. You're going to kind of talk about navigating through the unknown and ambiguity. There's a lot of different things that we could talk about, and we're going to, just even with the recent, unrest that just happened in Chicago. But I was thinking maybe we could just start off by, kind of talking about, with your introduction, some of the things that you had as a working mom. How has that been? How was that for you, and how did you navigate that?
Yeah, I would say, speaking as a mom, as a woman growing up through the business world, I made a lot of mistakes along the way. And one of the things that I would just encourage anyone who's raising their kids, especially in this remote environment where they're trying to do their schoolwork, et cetera, it's tough. And you have to give yourself permission to make mistakes, and then just try to course correct as you go. The importance of not missing things that you can't add back. I speak a lot about that, especially my organization now at Ulta Beauty. We're about 96% female in the field organization. And I do share a lot of my mistakes that I've made, the things I would do differently. Don't miss the soccer games or the music recitals or the things that are really important to them. You've got to keep a personal schedule that's just as important as your work schedule. And you would never think about missing a meeting with your boss or a big work group team. And you need to have that same commitment for your family and your kids. I think that's really, really important. And it's easier to kind of slight them, but I'm telling you, don't do that. Don't make those mistakes. I made a lot of those mistakes, and I can't add back time. That's the one thing you can't do as a parent, whether it's you're the mom or the dad, is you can never add back time. So give yourself permission that you're going to make mistakes. When you make the mistakes, you get back on track, you course correct, you own it, and you just continue to work forward and work through. I will say, the environment and the diversity that we have in the workplace today is definitely different than it was, 25 years ago plus. But we all have an ownership and responsibility. And when you see someone getting off track as a leader, I think it's also our responsibility to put that front and center to them, because are the best employees are those that have balance. And you know, Marcus mentioned it earlier, things can get out of whack really easily. And give yourself permission, you're gonna get out of whack, but you gotta get yourself back on track. And as a leader or as a partner in business, you need to make sure we're all holding each other accountable to that. I know I saw a couple things around self-care. You're only as good as your mental health and your physical health and your social well-being is. So if you want to be the best employee, you can't just 100% be at work all the time. So I would say that, that would be my piece of advice, is that you're going to make mistakes. Get yourself back on track. Give yourself permission to not be perfect all the time. None of us are. And just do the best you can.
That's huge. I like that. I mean, I don't ever make mistakes personally, but no, I'm kidding. I make them quite often. And it is really hard to balance. It's hard to balance, and that guilt, I think, you know, not to say especially with women, but it is, you know, with work and balancing the home life, it is very, it's really tough. So thank you for sharing. Tony, we were going to, you were going to talk a little bit about how do you continue to work on making yourself relevant and current in this environment. And it's perfect timing. You know, you've gone through you know, an incredible change recently. You know, I think with you know, with the transition through the Tribune, and then your, you know, even your bio is changed since 2 weeks ago. So, you know, what do you do to stay relevant and keep up with everything that's changing?
Well, first, I want to applaud Keisha. I think, you know, talking about the challenges of being a mother, and especially in a hard charging work environment, I just applaud the fact that she raises the point of challenging others around you, because that's real leadership to me, is helping other people. So I applaud that. And then I'm going to pile on to Marcus, a few points Marcus made, but let me start with a couple people that I hold up as being examples, shining examples of being current and relevant over time. Two entertainers, David Bowie and Prince. And I use them because they were current and relevant for decades if you think about it. And Prince would have probably surpassed Bowie in terms of the number of decades had he not passed. And I use them because current and relevant is staying at the top of your game, being on the short list, having people look at you as examples, and both as business people, artists, songwriters, musicians, they constantly enhance their skills and their abilities, and they change with the times. And when I think of current and relevant, I use them as examples because I think it's more real life. We all can look at their careers and think of all their songs and how they change. But I would put staying current and relevant as a professional and as a person in the same category, that it's up to us to stay relevant in our industry, relevant in our jobs, and also relevant in the skills and understanding of the trends around us. And you either go up the escalator or you go down, because if you stand still, the rest of the world continues to move. And so I just think that's a good objective to have in your mind. Now, how do you do it? Adapt. You adapt. Every day you should be getting better. Marcus talked about continuous improvement. And you should gain new skills. You should gain new knowledge. And then, you know, you stack those up, and over time you look back, again, stealing Marcus's line, you go, what happened? 5 years has passed. I'm nothing like I used to be. I've stacked all these new things up, and I've positioned myself, maybe from a supervisor to a manager, maybe from an individual contributor to a supervisor. But you start to evolve your career. And then the last piece is, from time to time, and Ashley, I've done this a couple of times, reinvention, where you say, you know, I don't want to be in sales anymore. I'd rather be in operations, or I don't want to be in admin. I would rather be in this area. And you pivot, but you can only pivot if you're staying current and relevant. And so they all sort of tie back together to this notion of We should be getting better every day. We should stay current with the current trends and knowledge in our space. And we should find times when it's necessary to pivot from sector, job, or again, from a manager even to a leader requires another set of skills that you need to attain. And last, I would say, have your aspiration in check. It's not always best to go up. From time to time, to stay current and relevant, I've gone back in a job title and I've gone lateral several times. Some would say to find a job that I could do. But I just think this aspiration can sometimes send us down the wrong path. But if you're really aspiring to be current and relevant, you might look to make some lateral moves that position you well for the job after the next job. And so those are the tools that I've gained from tons of great mentors and other friends over the course of my career. And I hope that's helpful as people think about how they can continually put themselves in a position to succeed.
Thanks, Tony. I think speaking of mentors, I think about, I'm fortunate that I work with my father, and I say fortunate. Sometimes it's kind of interesting. We have interesting days, but growing up with him, I was sharing with you guys the other day that I'd say, "Oh, Dad, I'm going to run for student government," and he would say, "Great. I assume you're going to run for president of student government," or I'm going to, we have meetings, and after every meeting, I go into his office and we critique each other. It is like hardcore. I have tough skin because he will say, "Ashley, you only said 5 times, not 10 times like you did yesterday." Or he will say this, and I'll write back at him. I'll say, "Dad, did you realize that you said this? This was totally not PC, Father," or whatever. So we go back and forth. So as I just said, but what is, and what's really important is, I think, mentors. And I'd like to hear from any one of you guys what you think is what you look for in a mentor, and why do you think having a mentor, Marcus, you brought that up as well, like your kind of personal circle. Tony, you brought up a mentor as well. Why is it important to have a mentor? What do you look for in a mentor? And is that important? If anyone would like to take that answer.
Yeah, I'll jump in there. First, I'm sure Tony and Keisha will have some input as well. Is when I look at a mentor, you're looking for someone who is going to be honest with you, and honest to a point that they may hurt your feelings from time to time. So similar to probably the relationship you have with your dad, is an individual who is stretching you and pushing you to be your best. And the way I define best is you get better every single time. Right? Is not enough to just be status quo. These are individuals in your life who are looking out for your best interests, but most importantly, they're going to help you be aware of not just when you're slacking, but how to reach your full potential.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is that I think it's really important. We all have strengths and weaknesses. Know what they are and be honest with yourself first and foremost. And then go seek someone. And it's hard to find an all-around, all-professional athlete out there that can give you everything. Sometimes you have to go to different people for different things. And I do think that also there gets to be this evolution of that. It's just as you work your way through your educational or your business environments, that sometimes you have to do a little bit of a course correction and maybe push yourself outside of your comfort zone. So I would say that the evolution of my mentorship has continued to evolve and change. And it's a network of people that I use for different things. But once I start to feel almost a little too comfortable, it's time for me to kind of leave the nest and move on to the next level. So you got to continue to challenge yourself. If you're only with people and you're only engaging with people that are at that same level as yourself and thought process, you're not going to learn and grow. So push yourself out of your comfort zone and continue to seek for improvement for yourself.
Well said. I would just amplify and pile on to Keisha's points. When I'm at my best, I've got at least 3. Somebody in the company that keeps me from doing something foolish, like that has more perspective and experience than I do, and I don't understand the wherewithal of the whole company. Somebody in the company, somebody in your industry that isn't in your company, that you can build a relationship and understand what best practices are occurring in the industry. And then finally, if you can find either, I call them experts, but I've had a friend at Kellogg who was a great mentor that's, engrossed in the trends of whatever I was working on, that I could go to from an educational standpoint or a knowledge standpoint that wasn't sector specific, but could share with me how other sectors might be doing something in direct marketing or pricing that I could bring into the media business. And so I agree, Keisha, this notion of a 360 and having people for different needs is a great point. And of course, honesty, as Marcus has pointed out, somebody that really tells you the truth, even though you might have to have some thick skin to hear it, usually saves you in the long run if you could take a little pain early on.
So I'm going to now switch to, I'll just have one more question, and then again, please, we want this to be, I'll ask one more question, and then if anyone has any questions, please type away. We are happy to answer anything. You can make it as tough as you want. But this is, again, if we think about Chicago and we think about what we've just, been witnessing since March. And again, going back to what you guys really are, the frontline workers, and how important self-care is. I'm wondering, is there, as leaders in your own fields, what do you guys do? What do you do for yourself when your job gets really tough? How do you, when things are just, crazy at work, how do you separate? How do you take care of yourself? How are you able to kind of leave work at work, or how are you able to just, what type of self-care do you do? Keisha,
Yeah.
or Tony?
Yeah, start with Keisha. I get under my desk into a fetal position.
In a fetal position, that works. Maybe not the healthiest, but okay. We'll start with Keisha.
I'm only partially kidding, as Keisha will probably relate to.
Yeah. So what do I do to try to eliminate myself from curling in the fetal position under the table? One of the things that I've kind of changed even during this COVID situation is that I look at my next day and I plan before I go to bed how far I'm going to need to run the morning of that day. And it's something that it's really become important to me, is that that is my time, and it's only my time. I do running or walking, and it can be as long as a 2 hour. I've gone as long as almost 10 miles to a couple miles. And for me, it's almost like the mental preparedness for that day that I'm going to approach. And it's also the physical health, that instead of, maybe eating things I shouldn't be eating, I really have worked on my personal self-health during this COVID environment. And part of my justification is I was driving in the car pretty long, to get to my job every day, or taking the train in. I have now adjusted that time, and instead of filling it up, jumping right on the computer, that is my protected time for myself. That car time that I had, or that train time that I had, that's Keisha time. And it's really been very, very beneficial for me all the way around. Not only my health, I think I'm probably in much better health today than I was even before the COVID, but also just the mental capacity of taking some time to myself.
Wonderful. Anyone else?
Well, I was only partially kidding about one. I would say when you're not in alignment, and Marcus talked about this. I look at spiritually, physically, and mentally. When you're not in alignment, to me, when you're not in alignment, it's obvious why. And I just would say that I tend to find the same thing that you do, Keisha, that I have to step back and sort of take a step back and understand where I'm out of alignment of those three. And I would just say, you can be good if you're 2 of 3, you could do a good job. If you're only 1 of 3, either physically, mentally, or spiritually in a good place, you're likely going to fail down the road. You're on your way to failure. And if you can keep them all together, that's when you're your best self and you're humming along. And you can't describe it, but you know it when you're in alignment. And the key is, for me, is to understand we're not robots. You cannot work 7 days a week. You think you can, but you cannot. And I think Keisha's point of carving out time for yourself and stepping away from your job actually makes you better at your job, in my opinion. Again, after making the mistake over and over and over and over again, I can say that with clarity now because I've graduated from the School of Hard Knocks of doing it the wrong way. So that I agree. I think it's all about this alignment that all 3 of us have talked about.
Yeah, I just echo that. And I found meditation about 7 years ago. And it is about your personal time to recharge. And if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of others. So you got to make that time.
Yeah. Wow. I wish I could meditate. I wish I could run 10 miles. And Tony, I wish I could have all 3 of those aligned. I have to say, I like the thought of, I think a lot of people without the travel have been I have not, I mean, that's a really good thought to kind of take that travel time that you were wasting in your car or on the train or on the bus and put it into self-care. I mean, I haven't thought about it that way, but I tend to just sit in bed and check my phone and look at the depressing news. Or I've been getting addicted to TikTok, which is such a waste of time. So maybe I'll get up and I'll get outside. I like that. I might look at that. Okay, I'm going to see if there's any other questions. If I don't know if there's any questions right now. So I'm going to go on with I'm going to pull another question that we just have. Let's see. Does anyone want to add anything about valuable ways to encourage team cohesion and collaboration? Because we have 1,000 over 1,000 staff. Our 5 centers. We've got a lot of team. A lot of great groups together. And is there any suggestions or advice that you guys might have to share?
Keisha, I think Keisha should start on this one.
Well, it's very interesting. I would say that, I'm a big one, like the glass is half empty or half full, and I'm a glass is half full. That's just kind of the way I live my life. And in light of working remotely, I've found that many times people are more present, even in this, the ability to do Teams or Zoom, like what we're doing right now. And other times when you would be in group meetings or you would have these collaborative sessions, people would be on their phones. They wouldn't necessarily be as present. I've found that we're being a lot more productive and we're able to continue to move things forward at a very rapid pace. I mean, I went from closing 1,260 stores down that never was in our game plan to how do I get them back open safely for our employees and for all of our customers across the entire United States, let alone start to do salon service businesses in a COVID situation. And the ability to just really leverage cross-functional partners, making sure that people are really present and that you're bringing them along the journey. It's been really invaluable. And I think we've learned, and I've learned that you can be just as productive, not necessarily all sitting in a room. And you can do it with bringing people along at the right periods of time. And I think you guys are probably, that MFS, you're facing a lot of the struggles that are with the city of Chicago right now, where there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. But to take a step back and think through, like, what is the objective? What's the goal? What's the end goal? And who do you need to take along the way to move things forward? It's really important. And you can do this in this virtual environment. And like I said, I think in some ways, it's working even better because people are more present when you're in this type of a setting versus in a meeting where you can be multitasking.
That's why I tossed this to you, because I knew you, of the three panelists, have had, the biggest challenge. Yeah. I mean, when you run stores and a retail, there was a reason I pitched it over to you, is I knew you had just gone through this. Yeah. And that you would have some real good insights, because think about, as people listen to this, stores all over, right? And you're orchestrating, from wherever you're at that point in time. So,
well, and thank you for that, Johnny. I would also say, the importance and the value of people. It doesn't, any business objective that you're working through, the most important commodity we have are the people that we work with, and the people we work for, and the people we are here to serve. And if you are focused too much on the business first, and you don't focus on the people first, your business won't survive. And I think you're going to see, especially coming out of this this current retail environment, the economic environment, et cetera, the businesses that put the emphasis on people first and took care of their people will serve them well. If you look at, what's important to the populations that are growing, the millennial population, it's about what the social responsibility is. It's not just about running business anymore. Everyone has a level of social responsibility. And I do think you're going to see those that really focused on their teams, their people, the consumer, the people that we're supporting. And I think it fits very well with MFS, because taking care of each other and taking care of those that you serve will serve us very well in the future.
Well said.
Thank you.
Yep.
I think we are getting a couple questions. So we've got about 12 minutes left. So let me just see here. How are you, one question is, how are you balancing work with finding time for yourself, but also staying engaged with the social justice issues our community is facing? Would anyone like to take that?
I think it's, for me, it's been continuing with the time management. I have a time management process I use. It's a 12-week year, and I can reset, but I block out religiously the time for myself. That's the first thing that goes on my calendar. And staying in tune with the social justice piece that's going on in our community has been, it's been interesting, because it's more come to me. In a lot of ways, is come to me because I am a male of color. So I've given a lot of my colleagues and friends permission to ask the tough questions. It's very hard to be an ally or an Anglo-American, and you got all these questions, but you don't know how to ask them. And you have to give people permission to just, you're going to make mistakes, ask the question. So I filled a lot of those, and I've been engaged with a lot of panels similar to this, and in a lot of cases, I've been asking for additional support and revenue for Metropolitan Family. So that's where I've been.
I talk about balance a little differently. I call it harmony, because and it's a pendulum, and swinging the pendulum from work to life and back and forth. Keisha talked about this. Don't miss something important to your children or your spouse, and that's swinging the pendulum back to personal, because work will keep your pendulum on work if you let it. That's a certainty. And so I think there are times when you just, work's going to be, the pendulum's over there, but make sure you swing it back and make sure, as again, Keisha said, don't miss things because you can't make up a memory. If you miss it, you miss it. And hopefully you work in an organization that allows you to swing that pendulum back and forth. And then I would say on the social justice issues, I would say introspection. There's been a lot more time I'm spending trying to be a better listener and understanding. Marcus, I would be somebody that would come to you and talk to you about this, right? I don't understand. I'm not a black male. I don't have children of color, right? And so I have been a much better listener, and I'm much more action oriented and engaging in those conversations, I find. And and I think that's what we all should be doing right now. It's doing a lot of dialogue and understanding. And I'm hopeful we'll find a way to reverse these injustices and to change. And it starts with all of us individually.
Yeah, if I could just, I might answer too. I think just through my foundation, there's been a lot of discussions, webinars, conferences, and I think, Tony, this is also trying to stay relevant. I think now is the time to listen and learn, but I also think it's time to take action. And again, this is where I am. I'm so happy that I feel MFS is walking the walk. MFS is in the communities trying to make those injustices, trying to empower families, trying to do that every single day. And so I am listening. Our company, our businesses, we came out with a statement. We're going to do a diversity. We have a lot to learn, and we're making some changes, and I think hopefully everyone is. But it's one thing listening, but it's also we need to take action. But again, it's another reason that I am just proud of MFS and the amazing work that you guys are doing. Okay, let's just see here. A question is, let's see here. As someone newer in my field, I am wondering what suggestions you have as far as connecting with mentors outside of your own agency or field. Anyone want to take that?
I would identify what it is that you're really looking for in a mentor. And then almost you've got to sell yourself, because sometimes if you want somebody to take their own personal time to work and develop you, you've almost got to sell yourself and what they're going to, if their investment in time, what you're going to do with it, and get out of your comfort zone. I know I've pushed myself a couple times to do a reach out and like a little quick pre-bio of myself and why I reached out to this individual, what I thought I could learn from them, and what I was going to do with that. So there's accountability on my part. It's really hard to say no when you come at it that way, when you approach it that way.
And I could be speaking out of a line here, but I know, we have a board of 70 board members, and we're always looking for ways to give back. And I think that one of the things is that if any employee ever has any questions or wants to ask us any questions of anything about their job trajectory or anything like that, I know that our board would be always willing to reach out and listen. So that's I'm just going to throw that out there. You call us. I think everyone would be willing to take that phone call.
Yeah, and actually, just to add into where you and Keisha both were, it's when you make that call, if we have an understanding of what you want to accomplish, I think we'd be more than happy to try and make sure we get you to people in our network that will fill that need or that request.
Absolutely. Okay, we have 4 minutes left. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So my final question to you is, why is MFS your charity of your organization of choice? Why MFS? Let's see here. Tony, you do not have your mute on, so I'm asking you first.
Oh, geez. You usually mute me, Ashley.
No,
You've been nice to me today.
Time. You were very appropriate, Tony.
Well, I go back to where I started, that I was blessed and was in a strong family where I learned a lot about values and how to be a good person that I could achieve. So I had all the opportunity and wind at my sails. And I just feel like that should be the goal for all young kids, is that they can have that same opportunity. And Metropolitan's wraparound services and going to the early childhood centers and seeing those wide eyes and bright faces. How can you not know we're doing great work when you see that and feel that? And so to me, it's the wraparound services that families need, because there's a lot of complex issues. And then it's just knowing that the work we're doing are providing these children with an opportunity to be wildly successful. And to me, that's enough. That you got me at go on that. And I'm proud to be a board member. I thank all the staff. I know every one of us will do this, but we can't thank you enough for all your hard work. And we know that MFS is all about you. And so it's easy for me to wear the MFS badge.
Thank you, Tony. Marcus?
Yeah, first, thank you for all the work you do in our communities and in your ability to help others and improve their life. For me, MFS is very personal, because I've got a lot of cousins that just didn't make it. Right? I have a lot of family members that resemble the people that our services support and give a leg up. Some got caught into drugs, some ended up in prisons, and some that were even very close to me have passed away. Some with gun violence or other means, but what you guys do definitely change lives and make a difference. And as one person, I can't do it alone. So we need that army. So thank you.
Thank you. Keisha?
Yeah, I would say this is my heart board, is what I call it. And it's because my heart lies with people who are trying to make a difference for others. And that's what this entire organization is helping many times those less fortunate have an opportunity and a step in the right direction. This agency, this organization just does so much, and it's got its fingers through the entire city of Chicago and beyond. And it makes me very proud. I mean, what I shared earlier is that, I hit some hard times. And the fact that we have an agency here that is working with people who maybe have hit a bump in the road. I often talk about there's IQ, EQ, and AQ. Your IQ is cost of entry. You have a certain level of intelligence. Your EQ is you've got to be able to relate to people. You got to understand how to make things happen. And your AQ is how do you overcome adversity. And this Metropolitan Family Services is a place where when people hit adversity, they can help put them in the right direction. And it makes me really proud to be a part of what everyone is doing on this call.
Well, to my lovely panelists and fellow board members, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you guys speaking so honestly today. And I was almost getting emotional with all of your comments. Again, to all the staff that called in today, I really appreciate just like what Tony said. It is all about you. You guys are really, you give your heart and soul to MFS, and we know that. We appreciate it so much, and we thank you. So thank you so much for all you do. And we are going to be signing off. Thank you very much.